earth am I going to be able to get this done? There's so much shine on my face. My face is so shiny. My face is so shiny. So shiny. Hey guys, welcome to Bokeh. I'm Quaid Wooten, and in this segment I'm going to be talking about making my first short doc and using the EX1 camera to do so. Yep, life-changing stuff here. Life-changing stuff here. Oh yeah. So the EX1, my first impressions on the EX1 is that it's not very user-friendly. Now, granted, this is from someone that's used to DSLRs, not really used to a professional video camera in any way at all. So other people might pick this up and think it's extremely user-friendly. For me, it's not. Very subjective, and even more caution about my opinion. I'm not a camera guy. I want to get there, but I'm just not a camera guy at the moment. As for the picture quality or the audio quality, you're getting it right now. I am shooting this on the AX1. It's not bad. It's okay. I've seen a lot better. In the audio, I've plugged in a shotgun mic, but the great thing about the camera is it's able to take XLR cable, so you're able to add in your own shotgun on the camera. You can do that with a DSLR as well, but this camera is a lot more suited to handling audio. It's even got gain switches and so on, which you can do with a DSLR if you put Magic Lantern on it, I believe. However, this camera, I think it's meant to be a documentary camera. That's what people have told me, or maybe it's just a documentary camera of the school. I'm not sure. I had a good experience shooting on it, but I really just focused on the basics. White balance, focus, zoom, f-stops, exposure. I didn't even really mess with ISO that much. It's relatively hidden in the menus. I couldn't find it, and that's that's why I didn't really mess around with it, but I didn't see a massive issue with it. So all in all, I wouldn't suggest the camera to anyone to buy, but if they have the ability to use it, it's certainly worth the experience. All in all, though, I'm proud to say that I shot a doc on it, a 1-minute doc with no dialogue. Now, for making the actual short film, I actually had a really good time doing it, but the first hour was stressful, more stressful than it needed to be, because the night before, an uninsured driver gave me this sucker. Contusion in my wrist, so really I just got my hand jammed down really hard in there because he ran a red light and hit me when I had a green arrow in a left-hand turn. So thank you for that, and for all you people in the future, better be insured. The next day I was scrambling around. I had very limited use of this hand, and it made it really hard. I couldn't really carry anything in this hand. I can't do minute details in this hand. I can take the splint off, but it doesn't help very much. And in the long run of things, it's better just to keep it on because you don't want to deal with the pain. So the camera, you can sort of operate it with one hand. It's got a hand slot, which was nice. I used that a lot to hold it. And there's a record button on that as well as on the top of the camera, which really made things easy in that regard. However, I was doing my best to operate knobs by going like up and down, rubbing them essentially with my hand, which wasn't awesome. Also, the camera's a little beat up. One of the memory card slots don't work, and the very bottom plate that you attach to the tripod, you screw the tripod plate into, is broken, and I wasn't able to use the tripod then. We were supposed to shoot it on sticks, which proved impossible for me, quite literally. So I had to shoot it handheld, which was probably a blessing in disguise, considering that the tripod is really heavy, and only having use of this hand and carrying a tripod around would not have been great. All in all, if I had to do it again, I would probably make sure I had help, and I'd probably work around the camera a little bit more before I get there. I really think it's going to turn out well. There's some surprising things that happened, like they actually adopted an animal. I didn't have to have that sort of half ending where the animal's staring at them and they're staring at the animal. And then credits, like, did they get the animal? Well, they got the animal, and I was able to film that. So I feel like I have a really good 1-minute story for a documentary, especially one that's not supposed to have dialogue. But I'm going to stop rambling now, so hopefully that's been entertaining for you and maybe even helpful. Maybe. Anyways, that's going to be it for now, so have a good one. See you later.
Today I want to talk about first part in my pre-production process for shooting my short film project of the semester called The System. So my producer, my main actor, and myself put out flyers and posted on Craigslist and posted on acting social networking sites about the film that we're doing. We held auditions on open auditions at our school. Open auditions at our school is where pretty much everyone from around Colorado who is interested in acting in short films can come into the school and audition, and they perform a monologue that gets put into a database for our school so that any of the students can access this database and then find talent for their short film projects. So the benefit of holding our auditions on open auditions was that Galena, the head of the acting department at our school, would just send people after their performance down to our room so they could specifically audition for my film. So how the process worked was they would come up to our room and we would give them sides of the script, a little section of the script where they would read from. And so we gave them about 5 to 10 minutes outside to kind of just read it over and get a good grasp on the character and what the story is, and just so they can prepare themselves. And then they'd come in, we'd shake their hands and greet them and kind of just get to know them a little bit, ask them a couple questions, and then we'd read. I mainly wanted to see the chemistry between the two actors. I wanted to see them play off of each other and what that would look like, because that's a very important aspect of my film. Is, I mean, there's some really intimate moments in the script, and I need those to really shine through. And if the actors are just not comfortable with each other, then that's really just going to show on camera. But as the evening went on, it slowed down a lot, and things were just not looking great anymore. Like, there weren't anyone that I was thrilled about. There was ones I was tempted to have to make do with, but I wasn't blown away until this girl walks in. Literally, I saw her and I'm like, she's perfect. She got teary-eyed from a page and a half of a script that she didn't even know what it was about, and I was really impressed by that and really blown away. 2 things I learned about auditions that you should take into account is, the first thing is, write with someone in mind. If you have a really good actor who's a friend or a family member even, just kind of write with them in mind, because it's so much easier to work with someone you already know. And then the second piece of advice is, if you are holding auditions, seek people out. If there's a particular type of person that you're looking for, look for actors near you in Denver or wherever you are that fit that role and that category. Because, I mean, if there's someone you need specifically with blonde hair and blue eyes, then find actors or actresses you know who fit that criteria, and then contact them personally and get their information, and then have them show up for auditions. Because then at least you're not counting on just random strangers who may fit the role. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. It's not fun for anybody. It's not fun for you as the director, because you're putting your piece of art in another person's hands that you have no way of controlling. And it's also not fun for the actor, because honestly, they come in and they're in the spotlight. It's a very sensitive but necessary process that I think it's important for everyone to go through, but it's also something that if you can avoid it, you should.
This is Jeremiah. I'd like to talk about the first assignment we were given in Prod 1, which was to create a short 1 to 1.5 minute silent documentary. The first problem I ran into was trying to direct and film at the same time. Now, there's a fine line with documentaries for how much you can direct your subject, because you really do want to keep it as real as possible, but you do have to say, like, could you freeze and then get closer to what that subject is doing. But I found that I was focusing either too much on the directing part and then I was neglecting the camera, or I was focusing too much on the camera and didn't really realize what I was missing or what was really going on. So eventually I found a nice little rhythm, and me and the subject were able to work out just how to make it flow better. Like, I would say freeze, and then she stopped what she's doing. And I'd get really close and then film that and then go back. So I was able to get multiple angles of one action. So for lighting, I knew I was going to need... I shot the documentary on the Panasonic AF100, which produces a very nice image, but it's not very good in low light condition. So I knew I was going to need some light set up. So essentially what I did, I used a floodlight as my key light and just set that on the counter. I forgot the diffuser, so I just took a shirt, I cut it and just draped it over, and that worked very nice. I also put up 2 other can lights as a fill light, one to bounce off the hair a little bit. I draped some gels over that to give it a nice little blue tint to it, rather. I also put a can light up above her head, just over by the sink. That way it would give a little bit of hair light. And honestly, that was very nice. I don't think that my documentary would have turned out very well if it wasn't for that lighting. It was a very dark room, and I shot it at night. I also used one of those portable LED lights and just put that under the counter. It bounced off it. I also put that light in the fridge so that it would bounce off her face and look like the light's coming from the inside of the fridge. I thought that really added to it. Honestly, if I was filming a documentary that was more spur of the moment, didn't really have time to set up, I would definitely go with those LED lights. You just stick one on top of the camera, and that'll give you enough light to get your subjects. You can also just set those wherever and light it up real fast. You don't need to bother with plugging it in or anything. Those were amazing. It must have been the settings, but there's definitely a lot of noise in the shadows. It could have been my lens. I hear it's not that good of a lens. It was 18 to 255, I believe. It looked nice, but it didn't do very well. I'm glad I shot on the Panasonic. It gave me the chance to try a new camera out other than my Canon EOS Rebel, which I think is very important if I'm going to be a cinematographer, to try out as many cameras as possible. But overall, I really enjoyed using the Panasonic. This is Jeremiah. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.